Well, today is a brisket day. I'm going to cook a brisket. The turkey turned out great. Loved the turkey. We made turkey carcass soup, put in all the extra side dishes and everything. Came out wonderful. It was a kind of a thicker soup. It was really good. Appreciated that. But now we're moving on to a brisket. I was at Whole Foods and I went to their meat department. And I saw that they had a brisket, but it was small. And when I asked, it was a flat. Apparently they don't get them with the points on there, so I wasn't really going to be going around to a bunch of different stores yesterday, so I just decided to get a flat. So this is just a few pounds of a flat, and I will start loading up the machine. I'm going to probably put some Kingfords intermixed with the Lazzari to start the smoke effect, and then in the fire pan, or the ash pan, I'll probably put a couple of Kingfords down there to put the wood chunks on top of, so that there's air going around it. So that's what I'm up to. Yep. So during the last cook with the turkey, other than a few chunks that I put in here, everything came through as a fine ash. So I like the way the grate's working. I had some pellets that I was using up. I've got a couple of big bags, and I left them out, so they've been weathered on a few times. So I'm just going to, instead of throwing them away, just throw them into my vertical gravity feeder here. They'll sprinkle down, they'll do their thing, but I'm not hoping for a lot from that. So I've got a lot of extra stuff in there. Okay, well, right after I had the tumbleweed lit, I used the top button to just kind of get the tumbleweed a head start. But now that I got the smoke coming out of the gravity feeder, I've pulled the blades, and I've got the temp set for 200 for the brisket that I'm going to cook. I might change that, I'll let you know. And then I have a water pan underneath, and then I have Luke's water pan that sits on top of the manifold. So both of those have water in them. So there'll be plenty of water for this cook. So blades are out, fire's lit, and smoke is starting, and on with the show. Okay, let's see if I can keep this in the sun. So this is the flat brisket. It's been seasoned. I use salt and black pepper. Also, I did a little smoked paprika, a little onion salt, and then I also injected some melted butter into it a little bit because it was kind of a lean looking piece, so I kind of thought, let's add a little fat to it. The fat side will be cooked down, and that's about all I can think to tell you at the moment. It's starting. I don't have a watch, but I'll end up not really doing this by time anyway. It's all going to be on temperature. Got the probe in it. The probe will let me know when it gets to my target temperatures, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments too. Alright, so grill's lit. It's up to temp. It's about 200 at the moment, which I'm going to adjust. I was thinking 210, but I might just leave it at 200. And then the meat probe is in. We're monitoring that through the app, so I'll have it on my phone. And I don't really suspect I'm going to do anything in the way of taking a peek for about 2 hours for me, moments for you. Okay, I started this cook at about 1:30. We're probably about 1:45 at the moment. Just serve a recap of the recap I just gave you. I had a little more time to think about it. I've got the temperature right now set at 220. I want the smoke that I have right now to have a good chance to get to the meat. I'm probably going to kick this up to about 245 in about a half hour or so. Meanwhile, I got a meat probe in there that is going into the Masterbuilt controller to the phone. I got the fat side down on the brisket. The brisket is seasoned as I told you. At this point, my smoke blades in the back are a little less than full open for the individual squares, so they're down just a little bit. And you saw how I pre-stacked it. I've got some used lump down here, a couple of briquettes, lump, briquettes, lump, briquettes, and then more lump. And then I sprinkled in some excess pellets that I had for flavor. Inside the pan, I put in sort of like 6 or 7 professional Kingfords to create a raised bed to put my chunks on top of it so that the air can get around it. I have found in the past that if I put the chunks in the pan has obviously been emptied, so that's putting the metal against the wood, and that part of the wood doesn't burn. So I thought, let me just lift it up. Might be a good opportunity for me to start thinking about maybe putting a little metal shelf there with grates in it, so that when I have a complete clean pan, the wood chunks aren't actually going to the bottom of the bucket. There would be an opportunity for it to breathe, but that's another thought. So at this point, I've got the water in the Luke's pan on the far side, and that's almost full. I've got a tin pan underneath the brisket, and that has hot water in it as well. So there's going to be plenty of moisture in here. I don't know how long it's going to basically cook at about 220. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to cook at 220, but I'm prepared for it to go for at least 4 hours. I've got plenty of fuel, plenty of water, plenty of sunlight at this moment, but I have put in my Christmas lights. You'll probably see that they're in here. So if this goes into the night, then this thing will probably be lit up for the first time since you've seen it for the Thanksgiving cook. I didn't have the lights up then. So I think that's it. I don't know of anything else I can give you. So I'm just going to let the clock tick on this end, and I'll be back in a moment. I just had to show it's still smoking nice. It's probably about an hour or so into the cook, but yeah, the smoke just doesn't give up. It's hanging in there, and I just thought I would interject this this image. It's about 2 hours into the cook, and I thought I would show you the app showing that the stove is staying at 230. And the meat temperature right now is 141. I have it set for 160, so it may go for another hour, so that would be 3 hours before wrapping. Now we are 3.5 hours into this cook, and we're getting to the point where I'm getting close to wrap it, just to let you know about that. Okay, the meat right now is at 154, and when I probe it with the instant read thermometer, you can feel that it's not soft yet. So I'm not quite ready to wrap it. Let's see, it went in at 130. Oh boy, I'm thinking it's 3.5, almost 4 hours so far for this little guy, which is pretty fast in the scheme of things for people that cook briskets, what, 13, 14 hours and stuff. So anyway, fortunately, I'm not having to count on this as my dinner tonight, but it's early enough to where I can still, I probably wouldn't want to push it for dinner tonight. I got to remember to let it rest for a while too. Okay, but fun. We're cooking at 240, so the stove is staying, or the oven, the grill is staying at 240. We still have a nice smoke all through this cook. And again, the meat is at 153, 154. It was in a little bit of a stall, so I was kind of waiting for it to come out of the stall. And I think it's maybe doing that, but I don't have my right or the correct temperature probe to actually have an app printout of how that curve is for that cook. That would be my meter probes that I would like to use, but I didn't put it in for this particular one. I just went ahead with the temperature probe from Masterbuilt, and that's where I'm getting the 154. So targeting, having it targeted at 160 was just sort of a low set point. I might try to let it go to 170 based on how I'm feeling, how the probe is meeting a little resistance. So haven't given up. We're still getting through there. However, we're getting into that 5:30, it's getting dark kind of a deal. But at least now the lights are on. So that's where we are. Okay, obviously dark. This is now 5.5 hours later, and I just wrapped the brisket in aluminum. I got that all nice and tight now. Got the probe back in it, and going to try to cook it up to about 200, I guess, but we're floating around 165 right at the moment, so that's still a long ways to go. So to my surprise, this little teeny brisket is actually going to turn into a long cook. I kind of had the impression by watching YouTube videos that a brisket of this size would only be about 3 or 4 hours. Boy, was I wrong. Okay, so I have the grill set at 270. So we're cooking at 270. It's been that way for about 45 minutes. And again, the meat now is all really nice and tight. It's in aluminum. I'm not using paper this time. And we'll just keep on going. I still have plenty of coal in here. At this point, it doesn't matter if it's smoking because it's wrapped. So that's where we're at. See you in a little bit. All right, so it's about 6.5 hours. We're at 199. We're going to 205, and the temperature of the grill has been 275 for about the last 30 minutes. So it's still wrapped in the aluminum, has a probe in it. So we're getting there. Excellent. Long day. Well, I'm getting ready to take it off. This has been almost 15 minutes short of an 8-hour cook. Almost twice as long as I thought it was going to be. But anyway, I'm at a point now where I'm happy that I did it this way, because I know that I did the cook the same way I would have if it was a bigger brisket. But no apologies or no worries. All right. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it. Make sure I don't turn it over because it's sealed just the way it is with just the one hole in the top. Like the idea that I painted the ends of those whites because I've never been able to put them in that easy in the dark. Alright, so it's turned off, blades are in, closed, it'll put itself out. So that's it. This thing's going to stay wrapped up in a little ice chest for at least 4 hours, and I guess I'll have to wait until tomorrow to cut it open and take a look at the inside. So thanks for coming along for the ride. There is more, don't go away. Oh boy, here it is. I just pulled it out. It's like 3 hours and 3.5 hours later. It looks like it has an excellent bark on it. I'm going to be looking forward to cutting that and taking a look at the inside. But just trying to get the light just right. But that's it. This is the kind of like the fat, this is like the fat side, but there is meat in here. But this is all the fat that I just cut off. I'll leave that there. But look at that beautiful smoke ring. Oh man. I definitely have to cut into this meat, see what I've got, but that's looking good. Okay, so that is an incredible smoke ring. Oh. All right, well, now it's time for a taste test. Oh boy. Definitely in hog heaven. Can taste the smoke. It's gentle, but it's there. Very tender. Definitely juicy. Can't wait now to buy a real brisket with a flap end point. All right. Well, that's how it came out, and I thank you very much for watching. Man, I wish I could share this with you. Delicious.